Hello everybody, welcome back to 10 Minute Reviews. I see you. This is Freya, I'm Jason, we're bringing you today's video. As always guys, please hit the like and subscribe buttons. Say it every time, but we are a small little family channel. We just love to read, love to talk about books. I think we should get more books out to people. Not enough people read for fun. And we're going to keep doing this no matter what, but we would appreciate any support you guys might want to give us. Really appreciate it. So today I want to talk about one of my favorite authors, actually, and his most recent book. We're going to talk about Cebelius. Clearly that's a pen name, I hope. And his newest book, Selena, which is book 4 in his Would You Love a Monster Girl series, which, guys, it's a fantastic series. It's one of my favorite series. A whole bunch of them, most of them have been slice of life. Even this one, kind of slice of life, and yet there's this underlying plot below them that is slowly gaining steam and gaining more and more hints. And Cebelius is just writing an absolutely fascinating, creating a fascinating world with these little city-states and the various monsters and even the magic and the hatred of magic by the humans, except when it benefits them, I suppose. And how he ties, how each book has linked to the previous book, not so much with this underlying plot line, but with the actual characters. A very minor character from one book becomes the lead character in the next book, and it's kept up all the way through. I have a guess on who might be the main character for book 5, but I honestly give myself maybe a 5% chance, if that, of being correct in my guess. Otherwise, he's likely going to be surprising the hell out of me. And with each book, there you get a brief little cameo with some of the main players from the previous books. Now, one of the things that I find really interesting with the Would You Love Monster Girl series is that while Cebelius is kind of known for writing within the harem-lit sub-genre, I don't call it a genre because they write within fantasy, sci-fi, westerns, a mishmash, so I call it a sub-genre. The Would You Love a Monster Girl series is not. They deal with one-on-one relationships, and definitely relationships. He writes it very well of building the bonds, and starting out with friendship and leading to trust, and then leading to the relationships, and especially with how he has built this world with what they call the spite, this genetic thing that will kill one entire species. There has to be, they can't just go jumping into bed with each other and stuff like that. So it's very fascinating, and again, just these individual couples, basically. So this time around, with Selena, we are dealing with a brand new monster, a Nagini, which is, those of you guys that are in fantasy will know what they are. If not, you'll figure it out when you read the book. But definitely a different type of monster girl than we have seen so far. Although the creep factor of at least from the very first one is probably the highest. The arachnid character. But the main character is, I think it was James Henderson, and James is a former cop. Now, you ask, where did he show up in the previous book? Very briefly in the previous book, when Tyra was attacked in the subway station or train station, and defended by the cops, most of whom got killed. One of whom was paralyzed, spine severed. That was James. So we start out with James not being paralyzed, but being pretty close. Experimental treatments, and costing him a lot of money. So he's gone to work as a mercenary out in the wastelands, and of course things don't go the way you would expect them to go, because you take an honest, good cop, someone who actually wants to be a cop for all the right reasons, and put them in a mercenary company. Of course, mercenary companies are some of them are very, very honest, but a lot of them are very, very not honest. And if nothing else, even the honest ones, they operate in a whole different world than cops do, with whole different rules of engagement and whole different morally gray areas. So James, of course, struggles with that. And then once the monsters start being introduced and how they're being treated, even though he absolutely hates monsters, after all, protecting a monster got him paralyzed by a monster and cost him everything in his life, from his legs to his family to his job to all of his money. And yet, right is right. Right is right, and James finds himself having to do the right thing, even though it is going to cost him his mobility. If he does not finish the treatments, he will be paralyzed once again for the rest of his life, and nothing will be able to fix it, in theory. So naturally, he does the right thing, which leads to some fairly interesting things, an interesting experience in prison, and things along those lines. So eventually, once that part finishes up, he is, of course, paralyzed, and you've got Selena, the monster that he had rescued, willing to help him, and she just so happens to practice magic. Now, of course, magic is outlawed within these city-states, but she is a magic user, and she begins to teach James, because with the proper teaching and proper coaching, he will be able to repair himself, be able to fix himself. And, of course, that is the ultimate goal. And then, of course, the enemies from the past have to show up, because otherwise it wouldn't really be interesting otherwise. But, again, this is a slice of life. This is not a big bad, you must do this, to, the whole plot of the book leading up to this one thing, this one great battle or anything like that. Although there is a pretty decent sized battle that does show up in it, but mostly the monsters from the past showing back up and having to be dealt with, and of course costing him once again the life he is building within the city-state, because as we said repeatedly, magic, no, not allowed. Although that also leads to some interesting crossings with some allied monsters, I suppose you could say. All in all, guys, this, as far as the fourth book in the series goes, I do find this one slightly weaker than book 3. I was much more of a fan of book 3 than book 4, but this is fantastic. It is a fantastic entry in the Would You Love Monster Girl series, book number 4. Absolutely amazing. If you have not read the series, I don't know what the hell you were doing, but you got to go read the series, Would You Love Monster Girl by Cebelius. If you have read the series and were not aware, book 4 just came out not too long ago, and it's fantastic. It's good as the rest. It's like, I do think 3 is the best one so far, but absolutely fantastic, and you guys got to check it out. So after you hit the like and subscribe buttons, guys, go check out Selena by Cebelius. Thank you, everybody, for watching. We will catch you guys next time. Bye now.